Welcome to the KW Next Gen podcast. I'm your host, Kaitlyn Pennington, and part of the Next Gen team. We will hear stories from young adults who are living big lives and attaining really big goals. KW Next Gen is a 501c3 nonprofit that was founded by Gary Keller of Keller Williams. Our mission is to empower and equip the next generation of leaders and entrepreneurs with the tools needed to remove limiting beliefs, take action, and live a big life. KW Next Gen is founded on the models and systems of Quantum Leap, the material that Gary Keller has been teaching for years. It helps people understand how to build big businesses, to live really fulfilling lives, to understand financial literacy, and remove all of those blockages. So join us as we talk with our young adults who are implementing these practices and really accomplishing their big dreams at a young age. We'll also have a chance to talk with our instructors, our board members, and our coaches who are pouring into the next generation and making a really big impact on their community and our world at large. So let's jump right in. Hello, Taniya. How is your day going?
It's great. How was yours?
It's so good. I am excited to dive in with you today and chat and just learn about your journey and your story and who you are and what you're doing in the world. Without further ado, can you go ahead and share your name, where you're from, and how old you are?
Yes, I'm Taniya Bible. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I am 28 years old.
Love that. Midwest girl. In your own words, what is KW Next Gen and how are you involved?
Okay, well, KW Next Gen to me was an opportunity to be mentored, to be educated, striving for our own personal goals. And we have the opportunity to be like minded individuals. And it's just a community where we can all work together and encourage each other. And we're also given guides on how to get there.
Yeah, I think that sounds great. I mean, who doesn't need a guide into this uncharted territory of adulthood that we call life?
Right.
Or I've heard from people like 3 times my age that being an adult is just like pretending to be an adult. So,
Literally,
if
I'm
you
like,
can have some guides, that's helpful.
yes, I work with kids and I'm like, I have these same exact issues to this day.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's hard.
Yeah. So actually, I wanted to touch on that a little bit because you
Mhm.
are a teacher, right?
Yes.
And what age do you teach?
So I'm actually a special education teacher. So I have ages K through 4.
Well,
So yes, the cute age.
yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. And such a pivotal age. And just thinking, like, as we dive into this conversation, Quantum Leap and KW Next is created to step into like the second chapter of life, of like that adulthood mode. And yet you are creating that first chapter of life, that childhood chapter, and especially with those with maybe additional needs.
Hmm.
What a cool thing that you've taken advantage of the KW Next Gen programs to get your own mentorship while literally walking the walk and talking the talk of being a mentor to those that are younger and are
Hmm.
still in their childhood. So, wow, so special with that and so neat and very cool for you at such a young age of 28.
Thank you.
Right.
I do love it so much.
I think that anyone that goes into that line of work, teacher in general, have to be saints. They are true angels. So just honor for you all, just the level of patience and the level of understanding and sometimes too just very much being an unsung hero.
Hmm.
So just honoring the fact that that is so amazing that you do that line of work and that you're doing that and that you love to do it. So
I
good.
do. I feel like they are teaching me while I'm here because I'm practicing the patience and the being resourceful and just all of the things. So it's an honor to get to work with them.
That's so sweet. Yeah, and that's so true. Yeah, kids teach us so much, which is so great. And like looking at the world through a kid's eyes too is also a good reminder as we step into adulthood to see life in a little bit of a different lens and through that childhood lens of curiosity and figuring things out and also sometimes defiance or just like those different things that it's like yeah push the boundaries like sometimes learning through children can teach you a lot which is very cool that you get to do that all the time.
Yeah.
So stepping kind of back into your Quantum Leap and KW Next Gen journey, what was your very first introduction to Quantum Leap and what was your experience like?
Okay, so my very first introduction to Quantum Leap was in December of 2024. It was being hosted in Austin, Texas, and my aunt Julia, who works for KW. She said, "Hey, I have this opportunity that would be really exciting for you guys. You're not going to know anybody there. You're not even going to know the group you're coming with. And coming from Minnesota, I heard Austin, Texas. Let's go." So I get there and I'm just blown away. I got the opportunity to meet Gary Keller and hear his story. I got to meet a bunch of people who just had all of these amazing goals. And I get there and I'm like, well, I'm not quite sure what my goal is at the time. I didn't know what I really wanted in life. I knew what was in front of me. And then so when I got there, they really challenged me to think outside of the box. They taught me how to make a SMART goal and about the GPS and a bunch of things I just didn't know. And they didn't let me get away with my goal is just like something small. They said, no, challenge yourself, think big, and then we'll help you create the steps to get there. And that really changed my life because before then I was very, I would say, lost. I didn't know exactly what I wanted. I was currently teaching, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to leave and do psychology or if I wanted to be a teacher long term. I was still up in the air. And I also had some boundaries that were keeping me from really being able to think past where I was in life. I got there and I got to see everybody else. I was inspired and I left and got a mentor from there. The rest was history. And it just really brought me to where I am now.
That's so amazing. And yes, many people listening to this are Keller Williams people and may know your Aunt Julia Lachey. She's an instructor with us. She's a coach. She's a leader and a business owner. I mean, just a speaker powerhouse of a woman. And I think though too that her desire to be like a lot of these skills and tactics have helped her become the woman that she is. And then she wants to pass it along to those in her family and she wants to pass it along to those in her life that are younger. And yeah, she brought like a whole group to QL Summit last year. And I think that that's a really just like a lead by example moment of if anyone and you could do it in that form. Like if there is someone who has family, we have had multiple other people that have done something similar of bringing a couple of their nieces, nephews, children, whatever to our QL Summit. But also we have classes being put on all over the country all the time. We have Quantum Leap classes being put on. I mean, your aunt included teaches some of them sometimes. And so, like, if you can't travel all the way to Austin, if you can't bring everybody out, there are ways to still introduce your loved ones to these resources. There's virtual classes, there's classes that are in different cities that might be closer to you. And so, if you want to follow in the footsteps of Julia of saying, like, hey, I am really successful in a lot of areas of my life, and I want the true next generation of my family to do the same, to do well and to find their own purpose and their own values and stuff, then do that. Give them the gift like she did to Taniya. So I think that's a good reminder. Like my nephews are very, very little. They're all, younger than KW Next Gen age. They're 11 and 7. And already though, I try to plant the little seeds of like, oh, you have that goal? Let's break it down. Or like, oh, you have that ambition? Let's talk about making it smart, which means making it specific and timely and measurable and all those things. Like it's never too early to plant the little seeds,
Yeah.
but especially if you have people in your life that are in their early 20s, like now is the time to like tend to that seed and to really like give them the gift because it's cool that you're already being able to grow. And that was only
Mhm.
like, a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
It was not that long ago. It was
Yes.
very cool. So you mentioned some of those, but what are the most impactful QL models, systems, or takeaways that you have actually like implemented into your life since that time?
Hands down, the 411. That was
Okay.
a life changer. I really got to put that into practice with my mentor. Her name was Lisette Montoto. But she was very much like, we need to use the 411. We need to use the 411. I really got very good at that, like breaking it down. I got to see my overall goal, and then I got to break them down into monthly goals and then sub goals. And
Mm.
being someone who is just a procrastinator and I have kind of ADHD where I'm like, I'm overwhelmed. I'll do that later. I'll just start something else and something else. And I'm just all over the place. And it becomes impossible in my head to reach a goal because there's so much to do. I don't think I can all do it. And I want to do it all at once and I can't. But being
Yeah.
able to break my monthly goals into weekly goals, like I just have to check off these lists this week. Great, I got that done, and now I can see the next step. So it's like a ladder, just one step at a time, and then I get here to the point where I'm like, "Oh, wow, I accomplished a lot in little time." I thought it was going to take me years. So that was the biggest takeaway I took because it's such a great tool.
Yeah, absolutely. For like anyone that's listening, some people may be very familiar and some people are like, what is this jargon that they're talking about?
Mhm.
So the GPS allows you to have one yearly goal and then break it down into priorities and strategies to really like break down that big goal. And then what's really great is then you have the 411, which breaks down even more or could build from it, where you have your four priorities for the week. You have one for the month and one for the year. And so you know that everything's building up. And each week you reassess it so that weekly goal is always evolving towards that monthly goal. That monthly goal is always evolving towards your yearly goal. And like you said, before you look up and you're like, oh, well, I've accomplished this whole yearly goal, or I've even accomplished, you could do it in a shorter amount of time. I've accomplished something so much faster than I thought because I've taken it into smaller bites. And I completely like just relate to you in the fact where it's like, I have all these things that I want to do, but it starts to become overwhelming when you don't have any structure to it. And you start getting distracted by things and like, putting things off because it just feels too daunting. But if you're like, okay, all I got to do is that one line on my 411, I just need to concentrate on that. And that's it first. Then I can move on. Then it just like makes it so much more digestible and it starts chipping away at those bigger plans that you have. And then you start seeing that track record of like, oh, I'm actually accomplishing all those things that I said I wanted to do rather than just saying I wanted to do them.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, so cool. And Lizette is so amazing. She's part of the KW Worldwide team and is just a great asset to our coaching group and a great leader in general. And so I'm just so glad that you had a chance to work with her too.
She was amazing. I loved her. She was just great and
That's
so
so
sweet.
yes, yes. And just like smart. She's a mother herself and
Mhm.
just yeah, very worldly and such an attribute to our coaching program. So shout out to Lizette as well.
Yes.
So one key part of Quantum Leap is creating a mission statement. Would you mind sharing yours or the gist of it and how it has impacted your life?
Okay, so my mission is to provide compassionate, structured support as a special education teacher, creating inclusive environments where students can develop resilience, self awareness, and confidence. I'm committed to advocacy, growth, and service that supports long term success for students and families. Was my
Wow, that is amazing. And like, so because listening to that, your choices of words clearly are very mindful and very purposeful.
yes.
What was like so you did like clearly the mission statement exercise, but what made you really decide that this is your mission for life? Like what makes this your guiding light?
Okay, so I always knew that I wanted to make a difference. So I think as I mentioned before, first initial goal, I always thought I wanted to be a therapist. And then I started working with kids, and I'm like, they really need someone to speak for them. I feel like a lot of children and families end up in situations where they just aren't getting the support and the chances that they need and deserve. And there's a lot of kids with disabilities that are just struggling in schools and in their environments, and they just don't have those things put in place at school to protect them. So in my role, I get to advocate for them and say, no, they need this. No, we have to give these to them. They if they need a way to school, we figure that out. If they need food, we figure that out. I don't want anyone to feel left behind. And I know how important children are in the community. And I feel like everyone should have an equal opportunity to grow and to learn. And it shouldn't just be, well, they have ASD or a behavioral problem. So we're just going to forget about them and leave them behind. That's not an option. It's very important that everybody who has a child knows how much their child means to them. And I've seen how much the parents care. And I want to care just as much if not more, and just make that difference. So that is why I created this mission statement.
Oh my goodness. Beautiful. I'm like speechless. Just your desire to be the voice for those that have quieter voices or voices that aren't others aren't willing to hear as easily. I think that that truly is like the most important work that you could do in this world in general, and to be that advocate. And for them to be able to watch you be their advocate, they're also going to learn from you to advocate for themselves, that they have the right to be, that they are full human beings, that they have every right as everyone else. They can have needs, they can have wants, they can have opinions, and when you show them that they can, they'll be able to grow up and do that for themselves more and more too, which is beautiful. Or maybe, parents, I'm personally not a parent, so I'm going to say that first, but like realizing that like parents are just people figuring out how to be parents and, navigate the nuances of that. And then having someone alongside them as yourself who's like a professional who has done this more than once and has, worked with different types of kids and stuff. And also to show them like, hey, this is possible at the school, or I'm willing to be the voice for you, or I can help make this happen. I mean, I'm sure they're so grateful for that too, because probably a lot of parents don't really know what's available for them or what's
Yeah.
possible for them, because it may be the first time they're ever navigating through this. So wow, just like such amazing work. And what's cool about it too is like it truly is a mission, because like this seems like your life's work, that right now it's taking the form as a special education teacher, but I can see where some of those values that you expressed could be expressed in like many other areas of your life, or in different lines of work as you get older, or maybe in different, I don't know, just different advocacy groups, or different ways to create more equity around different environments and stuff. Like those types of common threads could be done in like a lot of different ways, and just so needed in our world. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
I love to hear it, and can't wait to see like all that you do too, which will be cool, because you're just like right at the beginning of your journey as
I
well.
know. I can't wait. I hope I do a lot.
So you came to QL Summit, you went through coaching with Lizette, and then you have been able to grow in your career and everything. If there was someone else that was a few steps behind you, or still in their 20s, and they were interested in partaking in any of these classes, coaching, scholarships, anything like that, would you have any advice for them?
Yes, I would say just go. I think what stops a lot of young people is the uncertainty of the future and just not knowing how to get there. And then so I feel like young people sometimes give up early. It's okay to not know, because when you get there, someone will help you, someone will teach you, someone will guide you. And it's like just like me, when I went, I was so uncertain. I did not know what my goal was. I didn't know what was atop that mountain for me. And then they helped me figure it out. They helped me learn. And you'll get so inspired by hearing everyone else's ideas. And you'll also come to realize that you're not alone. You're not the only person who doesn't know what tomorrow looks like or next year. And if they can do it and if they can get there, so can you. And to just not give up on yourself too early, because there's people out here like the Quantum Leap program ready to help you. So
Yeah.
that's what I would tell.
Absolutely. Two of the things that you said there was really powerful is first, like giving up on yourself early. I think that it's really just to honor the fact that like people step into adulthood, we get into our 20s, and like life can be hard. And like you're told when you're little sometimes like you can be anything. And then you get to the real world and you have bills to pay and
Right.
to do, and you're like, "What? Where did all this like, where is the ability to dream, or to like you're just trying to get through the day." And I just want to honor that it's like the 20s can be a difficult place to navigate through, and it can feel a little bit like it's setting you back, but it's just a reminder that it's like, okay, well, seek out the resources and seek out the what you said of like, attend a quantum leap, find your coach. Like that's why KW NextGen provides these as much as possible for free, because it's like we want to make sure that people do have the tools, because the 20s are a confusing time to navigate through. And yet they also are a beautiful time to like learn who you are and still figure out what is possible, and like not to just decide like, okay, I'm technically an adult now. Like now it's time to grow up. It's like there's
Right.
so much room for growth. There's still so much room for discovery and learning. And then now that I'm into my 30s, I'm realizing, oh, it just continues. Like you just
Yeah.
continue forward, you continue to grow, you continue to fail, you can continue to succeed. Like it is all just a path and a journey. And when you're younger too, I think there is this pressure to like have it all figured out. Like
Yes.
supposed to have figured out what your career is. And like, spoiler alert, like every adult changes their career like 18 times. So like it all figured out. That's like very normal. And also like that's the time to like explore what you're into, what you like, what you're good at, what you're passionate about, and being okay that it's like this fluid, moving, living, breathing thing that it's like
Yes.
nobody, if
Yes.
someone's got it all figured out, they are lying. Maybe to themselves or to others or both lying. So it's okay to just like come to a quantum leap class and be like, I don't have it all figured out, but I'm gonna try to figure out some of it. Or like I'm gonna commit myself to coaching and use the next 3 months to try to figure out some more things. And it just sounds like you've taken those tools and really, really implemented them and like put them into such powerful and meaningful work, which is like and just life too. Do you feel like by implementing it into your work life, how has that influenced more of like your personal life or the person that you are?
Um, okay, I'll give an example. So recently, my aunt said, "Let's do a vision board night." So vision boards with my friends were completely different, where they just get a bunch of magazines and paste it on there, and then I show up, and she has a whole slideshow that says that is basically like, "Okay, no, what are your goals? What is the big goal? Like, don't think small. Find your biggest goal. You're gonna, and then I want you to plan." The same way you do for your other like your school goals or your career goals. And then so I really started thinking even more where I'm starting to plan different parts of my life and I'm like, okay, so I want this and these are the steps I want to take to get here and I can reach here if I do this. And then I started really implementing everything I learned and putting it into even my vision board. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how it affected my other life because I'm like, no, I can use these same tools to reach other things. If I want to be a singer one day, I can use the goals to do that. Not saying I do,
Absolutely.
but just yeah,
I love that, and I actually really like I might steal that from you and Julia because I do love, like, the GPS format and stuff, but I'm more of a visual learner and,
mhm,
like, more of an audio like, I want it to be more than just, like, a list on a paper, with bullet points and so on and so forth, like, I need something for it to be, like so and I also love vision boards, but I feel like sometimes they're ambiguous, like, there's not enough details there, so I feel like I wanna take your all's lead and, like, blend the 2 together of being like, "Yes, it's creative and everything has structure to it," where I can actually be like, "This is
exactly.
happening and this is the path," and all of that.
Right. And it was
That's
super
cool.
helpful. And if you
Yeah.
want to make it even more fun, use AI to change your faces into the. She taught
Yeah.
me that too.
That is another thing about vision boards that bother me sometimes where I'm like, it doesn't inspire me to look at someone else that doesn't
Right.
look anything like me or the things I want in my life. Like, that's their life. That's not my life. That's their life. So,
Like she
there's
already has this.
that. Catch me like creating AI, just my perfect life with my face on it. So,
Look, it
I love that.
works.
I haven't thought of this before. This is amazing. This is why I like these conversations because I learn more from you guys all the time. So,
I learned and I'm sharing.
yes,
Yeah.
awesome. So anyone that's listening, I'm sure is also going to borrow it because that's such a great thing. And I think too, it's a reminder of like all the quantum leap models and systems, they're not black and white all the time. Like you take them and you make them your own or like your mission statement, that is your own and it's going to evolve over time, it's going to change over time or you're going to take the skills of the 411 and the GPS and put it into your vision board exercises. Like you can always, it's just such like a living, it starts to weave itself into the fabric of who we are and start showing up in like sometimes unexpected places. So, why do you think that another young person like yourself could benefit from going through a quantum leap class or coaching?
Okay. I feel like they can benefit because I think there's so many things that we just don't know that we're just not taught immediately. I know that I personally wasn't taught like financial literacy very early on. They don't teach you really that in high school. It's kind of grow up, you're out in the world, you're figuring out yourself. So I feel like they really did focus on that. I know when Gary Keller was talking, that was a big part of it. I also feel like they could take from it a community. I feel like also being young, sometimes you feel like you don't have anyone to talk to who's going through the same things. And when you get there, you're meeting different people that are your age, sometimes even older, who have been through the things that you're going through right now. And you have a support system, a team, someone to lean on, someone to talk to about it. And that is also really great for your just development. Another thing I feel like you could take away, I went through the mentorship program, which made me eligible for the scholarship. And now I actually applied for my master's and I'm waiting on an application for that. So shout out to all of the donors because you are truly appreciated. So thank you so much for that because it really did change my life and help me get over a huge boundary. So without that, I wouldn't be here today. So really, you never know what door you walk through that'll open up more opportunities for you.
Okay. Loved what you said because what I heard though is that for each bucket of like the initial experience of you went to QL Summit, it can happen at a different Quantum Leap class, but going and meeting other people, being in a room of other young people that are aspirational, like that is in itself something great and amazing. And that's like its own bucket. And then participating with Lizette and coaching, you sharing all of that, that is a bucket in itself. And then the scholarship funds too, is that yes, it's like so often and more in our, modern day, it's like we do have these goals, we have these aspirations, we want to move forward in life. And there is a financial roadblock that we just can't quite get around and we can't figure out how we're going to, as much as we're working hard or putting our mind towards something, like it just is still a roadblock. And so that's why, like you said, the donors are so amazing because they give the tool to go around that roadblock and to finally move forward with your life. And the fact that then now you're being able to apply for your master's degree, you're being able to do even more meaningful work. Like you're now paying it tenfold out, or probably a thousandfold, where it's like you were finally able to get around that roadblock because of some support from donors. And then you're able to go out in the world and create so much more good, so many more opportunities, and so much more financial literacy to others. Because maybe those of us that have learned it the hard way, we don't want people to learn it the hard way. That is no fun. I did the same thing in my
Yeah.
20s. And that is like one of the reasons why I love to be in this position. Because I'm like, if there are more people that learn these lessons at teen rather than when I did at like 29, 30,
Hmm.
they're going to just be in such a better place and be able to create more good in the world because they're not having to go and fix their mistakes that they didn't know they were even making because they didn't have the tools to know they were making them, kind of
Oh
things.
yes, if I could have went years before, I would have. Yes,
Yeah,
I learned the hard way for sure.
it's okay because now you're going to have the opportunity to pass on that knowledge to the next generation, whether that's someone a year or two younger than you or multiple years younger than you, and be like, hey, I made these, I didn't know any better. You don't know what you don't know until you figure it out. And so then you're able to teach that to people that come after you, which will be so great. But I love that you have taken advantage of each bucket individually, because I do think like the class has its own thing, the coaching has its own benefits, and the scholarship. And like not everyone needs all of them, but sometimes it's like it's just so great that they're all there for anyone that wants to fully go through the whole path. So is there anything specific that you feel like QL has really helped you overcome, like as a person? Like we talked about your financial roadblock, or that you've been able to decide more about your career, anything like that. But is there something that you really feel like you've like been able to overcome?
Yes, I would say I had a huge lack of confidence. I remember being in my early 20s, like I used to cry because I would think that I'm never going to make it. Like I'm never going to get out of this. I don't know what to do with my life. I completely got to the point where I lacked all confidence of myself and I couldn't see a bright future for me. And I would say that going there, they really built me up to make me believe that I could do anything I set my mind to. No goal was too big. And I didn't believe that before. So I really appreciate them for that because they believed in me and they supported me and helped me figure it out. And now I don't have those same problems and same doubts about myself. So it's
I
mine.
love hearing that, and also just thank you for sharing that, because I think anyone that's listening, or even me sitting here right now, like we all feel that way, and people don't always say it out loud. And so then other people feel like they're the only one that feels that way. And I think that it's a really good reminder especially when you are in your 20s, it is that time where like it's kind of like the world says you're supposed to have who you are figured out. And it's so great to be confident and, be out there and just be like fearless and everything. And that's really easier said than done sometimes. That even if you're able to be that in some ways, like in our quiet moments alone, we doubt ourselves and we lack that confidence. And it's like, and that's okay. That's so okay at any phase of life, whether you're 17 or 67 or anything in between, like having those moments of doubt or having those moments of like, oh, other people feel like they have it all figured out or other people seem more confident and stuff. It's like there will always be people also looking at you thinking that too
Yeah.
and reminding ourselves of that, but just also then being like, you know what? Even though I feel this way, I can change that mindset. I can say, nope, I have confidence. I can believe that the big dreams are possible. And then just being like, let me give it a whirl. Let me see what's possible and see if I can prove myself right, kind of
Yeah.
thing, which seems like is exactly what you're doing is like being like, all right, it's okay that I've had those doubts or fears or insecurities in the past, but I'm going to move towards the fact that it's like, well, if other people can do it, so can I. I love that. That's really neat. And I'm sure you're creating a ripple effect too of other people seeing you do that and also being like, well, if she can do it, I can do it too, which is
Yeah.
very cool. In the world, there are a lot of self development tactics. What do you feel like sets QL apart or what makes it different?
Feel like what sets QL apart is that they not only give you the tools, they show you, and then they bring people in that come and talk to you that have lived it. And I feel like a lot of other programs are just like, be positive. You can do it. Just figure it out. Everything's going to be great. Just change your mindset. And I've seen a lot of those videos like, okay, great. How? Okay. How do I change my mindset? How do I be better? You're just telling me just to think differently doesn't really help me.
So
So I think the difference is that they can walk and talk at the same time. Like I'm hearing your words, but then you're also bringing people in who have done it themselves and can share their stories and they can actually tell me like, hey, this is the first step, this is the second step, this is the third step, and this is how I ended up here. And
yeah.
don't just pretend that they woke up one day with a positive mindset and their whole world was different because that's not always realistic. It's like, okay, I'm having a good day. Is money just gonna fall in my lap now because I'm happy, I'm smiling today? Like they say it's so totally different because I'm like, okay, it took them this amount of time to get there. I'm seeing what you did. I can model what you did. Even if I'm not walking the same path, I can take things from that and be like, oh, okay. Like he did this and he recovered. When Gary Keller was telling his story, I was like, wow, wouldn't have guessed that you overcame all of that and then got to where you are today. Because I think a lot of us just think, you were born rich. You came from a rich family and we see people and they're like, "Oh, you just had it like that. You didn't work for it." But then you go and you meet people like this. No, you really work to get here. This is not how your life started. It's just where you are now. So it's possible. And he did that with more than just a smile. That's what I think the difference is.
My gosh, just like that was so well said. And actually something that I hadn't thought of before. So I appreciate you even bringing that up of like that really is the difference for the instructors that teach Quantum Leap and, comes from Gary Keller, but then all of the very successful business people that teach QA. I think there's this common thread of like, yes, they're successful in their business, but because they're donating their time to teach this, there's also an element of being like full people too. They're not just doing it as an ego boost. They're not just doing it as like, I have it all figured out. Let me tell you how. I do find like mindset is everything, and there can be toxic positivity where it's like, just smile, just think happy, just be positive all the time. And like, and if that works for some people, by all means, keep doing that. And maybe eventually I'll figure that out. I'll let you know. But, like, that's not like, when you said, like, "Tell me how." Like,
Mhm.
that is something that I can relate to too, and I'm sure so many people listening also relate to that, where it's like, yes, there are days where a smile on your face and a positive mindset gets you through the day and it feels really natural. It feels really great. There's always a way to spin something into a more positive light. I totally am like on board for all of that. And I think realistically, it's important for all of us to humble ourselves. And our instructors do an amazing job of doing this. Gary does this amazing job of doing this, of saying, like, I didn't have it all figured out. And I learned things the hard way. And it took me a long time to figure X, Y, and Z out.
Hmm.
Or I'm still learning this. And just being real, I think also allows all of us that hear it to remind ourselves of like, oh, they weren't just born this way, or they didn't just smile one day and all their problems went away. Like they are still on this journey. So therefore, I can be on this journey and I can
Right.
figure it out one day at a time, one move at a time, one step at a time. And yet I can still accomplish it. And I think anyone can say, I can accomplish it. I can accomplish it. I can
Yeah.
accomplish it. And it can be a million different things too,
Mhm.
because we're all different people. But yeah, I think that is something that's so true, that it's just like the authenticity and the realness of like, yes, alter your mindset, but no, you don't have to just like pretend to walk on rainbows and hope everything is okay.
Yeah.
Like realistic,
No,
you
it's not.
gotta
It's
do
more
work.
relatable when I feel like we get like the full truth, the complete
Yeah.
transparency. Oh,
Yeah. Oh, so true. So, so true. To wrap up, if anyone is listening, they are like, wow, I'm really inspired by Taniya. I'm inspired by what she's doing out in the world. Would you have anything to say to those people out there?
I would say that it's never too late to set a goal. It's never too late to reach it. There's always people you can reach out to that will be there for you. Like you said, there's videos and things available, and class is still available that maybe they can see or join, or maybe even just hearing me talk about it will inspire you. But you're not alone, and that you can set a goal just like all of us and the people who have already made it there, and you will be okay.
No, I think that's so true. I think it's like no matter where you are in life, it's never too late. It's never too late to learn something. It's never too late to start a new goal. It's never too late to become the person you want to be or change your mind about who you want to be too.
Yeah.
I think that's a good reminder. And that's what's so great about Quantum Leap and KW Next Gen. It's just this community, whether you are a young adult going through the programs, whether you're a coach, whether you're an instructor, whether you're a donor, or whether you had like never heard of KW Next Gen and you're Taniya's friend and you're listening to this podcast for the first time, like we're all on this journey of life and we all want to make the most of it. We want to make impact in our world. We want to enjoy this ride of life, that we're all on, and we want to make the most of it as much as possible. And so I think it's like it's never too early for that and it's never too late for that. Anyway, I know that you need to get back to your kiddos. So is there anything else that you don't feel like we touched on today that you want to share?
Um, no, I think we covered a lot today.
Yes.
Yeah, I just appreciate the opportunity to be here and to share my story, and I hope it inspires someone.
Absolutely. Well, I know that it will. And it was just so great to actually get to hear more about your story and to get to know you a little bit better. I'm so glad that this worked out. And it's an honor to have you as a guest on the podcast. So
Thank you for
thank you
having
so
me.
much. And we'll talk to you guys next time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining for this episode of the KW Next Gen podcast. We hope that maybe your interest was piqued to attend a class or get more involved. If you're between the ages of 18 and 29, we would love to have you in a Quantum Leap class. So go to our website, kwnextgen.org, and click events. Find maybe an event in person near you or an event online. They're always being added, so check back if you don't see one that fits your schedule. And if you're beyond 30, we would absolutely appreciate you considering being a donor. KW NextGen cannot provide these events, coaching, or scholarships without generous donations like yours. So again, visit our website at kwnextgen.org and click donate. If you become a monthly donor, you get great perks, or a one-time gift is always appreciated of any size. Thanks so much for listening, and we look forward to seeing you next time. This podcast is for general information purposes only. The views, thoughts, and opinions of the guest represent those of the guest and not KW NextGen and its affiliates, and should not be construed as financial, economic, legal, tax, or other advice. This product is provided without any warranty or guarantee of its accuracy, completeness, timeliness, or results from using the information.